Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to be creating a day to night look for you guys so you guys can go from work time to playtime. And I'm going to show you guys how to keep it looking fresh all day long into the evening. And for those of you who are requesting for a makeup tutorial on the look I had on in my morning routine video, which I know a ton of you guys were requesting, I decided to use that for the daytime portion of this video. So if you guys really liked that makeup look, I got you covered, don't you worry. If you're interested and want to see how I created this look, keep on watching. So the first thing you want to do in order to make sure that your makeup looks fresh from day to night is prep the skin. This is especially important when you want your makeup to last. So I'm going to start by prepping my eyes. I'm going to be using my Clinique Pep Star Eye Cream to depuff, brighten, and sort of lift the eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this guy open and apply it to the eye area. Not only do I apply it underneath, but I also make sure to bring it up. I think a lot of people tend to keep it in this area, but I'll bring the eye cream up to my brow. I think that really helps with the lifting if you apply the eye cream to the brow bone as well. Not necessarily the eyelid, just the brow bone. For a moisturizer, I want something that's going to keep my skin really hydrated all day long because I have normal to dry skin. If you're more towards the oily side, I still recommend using something that's hydrating because you still want to maintain the hydration in your skin all day, but you don't want something that's going to make you look like a grease ball right off the bat. So instead use a gel, something like the Clinique Moisture Surge. So I'm going to go ahead and use this for today's tutorial. And you also want to apply your moisturizer down your neck. Just like choked myself. And of course you can't forget your SPF. I'm going to be using the Shiseido Urban Environment Oil-Free UV Protector. It has an SPF of 42. I find that this is just really light and I really like the way it works with my makeup. So I like to just go little by little and apply it to my skin. And don't forget to apply SPF to your chest. It's the area that shows the first signs of aging. Because I am more towards the dry side, I'm going to use a primer that's going to keep my skin hydrated. I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs Coconut Primer, but I do get oily in the T-zone and that can really affect my makeup. So for the T-zone, I love using the Benefit Porefessional Matte Rescue. So I'm going to be using both of these, but feel free to use one or the other if you are extremely dry or extremely oily all over. So I'm going in with the Coconut Primer first. I'm especially dry right here around the mouth. And then with the Porefessional Matte Rescue, I'm gonna use a tiny bit and apply it to the T-zone. This bottle will probably last me forever because of how little I use, just for the T-zone. For foundation, pick whatever foundation is your absolute favorite, one that you feel confident in, and one that you trust will last you from day to night. In my case, I love the Kogan Do Aqua foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this foundation with my fingers first and then blend it out with a beauty blender. Ooh, this one might be a little light for me. I'm gonna add a little more of the darker color. I always mix their shades because I'm complicated like that. Same thing with concealer, you want to use your favorite one and one that is a little more towards the lighter side so it doesn't look heavy during the day. I'm going to be using the Kogan Do Liquid Treatment Concealer first to correct. This is really, really light in texture and it's got the perfect pink tone to help brighten. So a little bit on the sides too. So I'm just going to add a little more in these little divots that we have in our eyes. That's normally what causes the look of a bag or a deeper bag or dark eye circles. So I'm just adding a little more right there, right here. And then I'm just gonna pat it in with a beauty blender. Setting your makeup with powder is especially important when you want it to last all day. So I'm gonna set with the Laura Mercier translucent powder in that same beauty blender. I'm mainly gonna press it up underneath my eyes because that's the area that tends to move around later in the day. I find that Porefessional Matte Rescue keeps my T-zone pretty matte, so I'm not really gonna add powder to that area, but I'll definitely add some later if I get oily. Keeping everything pretty light for this daytime look because we're gonna add more for the evening look anyway. I'm going to bronze up my skin with my very own Melissa Hoola bronzer. This is so freaking cute. And I'm even applying this bronzer to my cheeks as blush to keep it simple. I'm not going to contour my skin just yet, I'm just gonna warm it up. However, bronzer does add a little definition to the bone structure. Using that same brush, I'm gonna lightly dust a highlighter onto the high points of my face to bring back that glow. I'm using Bubbly from the Anastasia Glow Kit. Alright, and that is it for the skin. I'm gonna move on to the eyes, and the secret behind that eye look I had on was the Becca Ombre Rouge eye palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. It's so simple. It has like your most basic colors for every day in here, and it's also perfect to turn this into an evening look. So I'm gonna start by filling in my brows first, and then I'm gonna do the eyes with this palette. I'm using the IT Cosmetics Brow Power Universal Brow Pencil to fill in my brows. I'm going to be priming my eyes with the Laura Mercier Eye Basics Primer in the shade Linen. This is a really great product for those of you with oily eyelids, and I find that it has a similar finish to the MAC paint pots, so it really is good for wearability and making your shadow last all day. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of this and just press it onto the skin. And I'm gonna lightly dust some of that Laura Mercier translucent powder across the crease. The first shadow I'm going in with from the Ombre Rouge palette is shade number 2. It's this one right here. And I'm just gonna pack that onto the lid with a Smith 247 brush. And then using that same brush, I'm gonna apply shadow number 4, which is this really pretty brown shade right here, to the crease. And you can even bring that color in a little bit on that outer V. And then with a smaller tapered brush, I'm using the Sigma E45, I'm gonna apply that same shadow to the lower lash line. And then I'm gonna grab that Sigma E40 brush and just really blend these out, make them look really soft and diffused. And now that I'm looking at the shadow, I'm pretty sure I did have blush on. So let me grab the blush. I'm pretty sure this is the blush I used, just a tiny pinch of it because it's really pink. It's Sigma's Aura Powder in the shade Nymphea. So I'm just gonna apply a pinch of this with my Luxie 504 brush. I'm also gonna apply some of the highlighter that I have on my skin to the inner corners of my eyes to brighten it up, and that was Bubbly by Anastasia. To finish off the eyes, I'm just gonna load up on some mascara. No false lashes yet, we're saving that for the evening look. I'm using the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I'm actually going to be using a waterproof mascara on my lower lashes to make sure it stays put and doesn't smudge underneath my eyes. I'm using Cannonball Ultra Waterproof Mascara from Urban Decay. Clear brow gel, always. And for a lip, I like a fuss-free lip color, so I always go for like a full coverage gloss because it's hydrating, it's easy to reapply, and it doesn't really require much. I'm using the Anastasia lip gloss in Undressed. And I'll usually put a lot on in the middle and then blend the rest out with my finger. And that completes the daytime look. Now onto the evening look. I'm again gonna pick up my Becca Ombre Rouge palette and I'm gonna apply shadow number 5 to the lid. I'm gonna really pack it on and even wet the brush to intensify the color. So I'm just packing that shadow on dry first, and then I'm gonna pick it up again and spray it with Make It Forever's Mist and Fix and pack it onto the lid. So I'm just really pressing it onto the lid to also help reduce the amount of fallout. With a Smith 230 brush, I'm gonna reapply shadow number 4 to the crease, but this time I want it to be really intense, whereas before I was really diffusing that color. And I'm going to use that same Sigma E45 brush I was using earlier to apply that shadow to the lower lash line, but again, more intensely than I did before. And with a really small brush, I'm using a Morphe M213. I'm going to again apply shadow number 5, the dark plum color, really close to the lower lash line. And then blend the edges out with a Sigma E40 brush. To really smoke out this look, I'm going to be using a chocolatey kohl eyeliner on the waterline, and I'm also going to apply a little bit above the lashes to hide the false lashes that I'm going to be applying. So I'm using Remmel's Magnifies in shade Kissed by a Rose Gold. I'm using the chocolatey kohl liner side. And I'm going to use the other side of this pencil to highlight the inner corners. I'm using the rose gold side for this area. And I'm using a Sigma E39 brush to blend it out in the inner corner. And to really complete the eyes, I'm going to apply some really intense lashes. I'm using What the Fluff by Velour Lashes. I went ahead and applied the false lashes off camera to save some time. So now I'm just going to intensify the contour, add a little more blush, highlight, and change the lip. I'm using Anastasia's contour kit. I'm using the shade Fawn to further intensify my contour, and a Smith 112 brush. I'm using In the Saddle Aura Powder from Sigma to intensify my blush. And actually for the lip, if you want to keep it really nude with a dark smoky eye, you could totally keep this color, or if you're like me and like dark lips and dark eyes, you can add a dark lip, which is what I'm gonna do. So I went ahead and applied a Chocolate Wasted by Dose of Colors for a super intense evening look. Again, feel free to keep the nude lip if you want to tone down this look just a tad bit, just a smidge. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set with setting spray. This is essential for making your makeup look fresh again. I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. With that being said, that completes this day to night transformation. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. So I see you in the next one. Bye guys.